Dealers of Reddit, what is the strangest thing you've been offered in compensation for your product? Someone offered me their dog for a $50 bag. They were such a crappy person and frankly terrible dog owner. You best believe I took that dang dog and we had 8 glorious years together. Don't tell my current dog, but that was the most caring pet that I've ever met. I miss the big guy every day. Former dealer here. I used to do it so I could afford to eat well at uni. I once had somebody offer to invite me to a Christmas dinner in exchange for some grass. I said yes, and I got to enjoy Christmas with him and his family stoned out of our minds. Frankly, it was an awesome experience, and since I couldn't afford the trip home for Christmas, it turned what would have been a depressing day into one of my all-time favorite memories. My dealer in high school would get people, usually gullible freshmen, to trade him their graphing calculators, usually priced at around $80 to $120, in exchange for around $10 to $20 worth of grass. This man made a serious profit selling those things. Bloody TI-84s, so expensive, and then after the semester I never used that fucker again. In my younger days, before being a parent, I sold grass and ended up fronting a lot out, and then when the people couldn't pay me, they would give me things like iPads, bongs, knives, and one time, almost a gun. But I didn't know if it was stolen, so I declined. I accepted almost anything that I thought was useful or cool, and the strangest thing that I got was a $1 t-shirt. It was just $1, but it was folded into a tiny shirt, and I thought it was cute and creative, so the kid basically got a gram for $1. I still have it too. Feels like something out of an abridged version of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Pro tip, learn origami to impress your drug dealers so they'll give you a good deal. I had a friend begging me to bring him some grass. When I asked about payment, he said he had something better than money, and that I'd be pretty pleased with it. He wouldn't say what it was, but made it sound like it was something that wasn't safe to mention over the phone. From the way he was talking, it seriously sounded extremely hush-hush. So, needless to say, I was intrigued. It ended up being a total of about $9 across 3 gift cards, a 2-megapixel digital camera, and an old phone that was missing the battery. He said the digital camera could be sold at a pawn shop, the phone could be used to hide product until I got a battery for it, and the gift cards were just, quote, something extra he felt like throwing in to sweeten the deal. I also had an incident where a friend of mine needed to buy, and I decided to hit up my Connect to pick up on their behalf. The friend picks me up, drives me to their dealer's house, and I ask them for the money before I head inside. They reached behind the seat and pulled out a Ziploc bag full of pennies, and was like, trust me, it's all there. For clarification, the drug was just grass, and it was before California allowed recreational shops, so only a handful of people had access to it in my area, and I didn't take the pennies to the dealer. I had enough to front my friend, so I paid for it, and kept the bag. The amount of coins did end up being the exact amount needed. Not a dealer, but my friend who I worked with was. One day he came into the kitchen of the restaurant while I'm chopping celery or something, and he's dragging a big, huge black garbage bag behind him. This man had already been to prison once, and just got back out recently. I jokingly said, dude, is that a friggin' body? And he goes, hell yeah, it is. I couldn't tell if he was joking, so I was gripping my knife a little tighter at that point, and making sure I knew where the exit was. He pulled the garbage bag back, and he had 3 huge Alaskan salmon in there. Some guy didn't have enough cash, so he paid him in salmon. I gutted them, cleaned them, and then this dude paid me in salmon. It was, honestly, surprisingly good salmon. Back in the 90s, when I was selling a lot of product at raves, I had one dude offer me a gold wedding band for a baggie. I took it and noticed some Cyrillic writing on the inside. I took it to a pawn shop that I knew had a Russian owner, and he told me it was from a family in Russia that was very connected to the royal family, and that was murdered during the revolution. I knew the kid, and his parents, and I knew he'd stolen it from his mother, who was a child of refugees from said revolution. So I just stuck it in an envelope and mailed it back to them. In college, I had a buddy whose house we would always hang out at. He sold all sorts of stuff. The best offer he ever got was from this 50-year-old lifelong junkie woman. She was a landscaper back in the day, and once she ran out of money, she started offering my friend plants. He rolled with it, and a few months later he had a beautiful garden in his backyard. She even dug out a pit and made a koi pond. Pretty good deal for both parties involved. And a win for us friends too, because we got to chill and smoke in an awesome backyard. In a darker period in my life, someone offered to sign the title of their car over to me for a week. I had people wanting to give me gift cards for half its value, people offering to buy me things from Amazon for half, coin collections, jewelry that a magnet wouldn't stick to, used tires and rims, lottery tickets, their girlfriend for a night once. But my favorite was a promissory note. Screw all that, man. I'm so happy I'm clean now and that I don't have to live like that anymore. I once found a bag of weed in the high school parking lot, and some kid I was with said that he'd give me his Xbox 360 with the games for the baggie. Yeah, sure, dude, I was gonna throw it away anyways. But yeah, that's how I got my first gaming console. If I remember correctly, I went home at like 11, and I walked into my house with the console, and my dad was awake, so he asked where I got it. I told him the truth, that I found a bag of weed at a basketball game, and this kid said he'd give me his Xbox with games for it. My dad said something like, "So you traded free weed for an Xbox?" Yeah, he had this Xbox in his trunk because he was going to his dad's for the week. Huh. So I greased my parents for an Xbox Live membership, and the rest is history. I dealt small amounts of various substances in addition to tending a bar while in college. One of the kitchen guys wanted a bunch of Molly, about $350 worth, and I got it for him. When it came time to pay up, he said he only had $100, but he'd get me the rest in a week or so. I was having a Super Bowl party that I had invited everyone to, and a few days later he asks if he can work off the balance by catering the event. Okay, I agree, and assumed that he would flake. But homeboy showed up 30 minutes early with some of the most fire Tex-Mex food imaginable. Trays upon trays of anything you could think of. Honestly, it was unreal, and probably cost him more than he owed me. It was a big reason why we served Tex-Mex at my wedding, because I knew a guy who could throw down. His catering company did a phenomenal job that day, and he did an even better job as one of my groomsmen. A friend of mine in high school got expelled for dealing, but kept coming back to deliver weed. He was never stopped because teachers were his clients. He ended up in bed with one of the student teachers for a bag. Only reason I know about this is that she came over while we were playing Tony Hawk, and not so sneakily did their thing while I waited in the kitchen. High school was weird, man. When my friends and I went to go pick up a $10 baggie of weed back in high school when we were all broke as shit, we got 2 Little Caesars pizzas along the way. We ate the first pizza waiting for our dealer to come out, and when he did, he jumped into the back seat where we were keeping the pizza. He saw it and got super excited and said, "Y'all got pizza?" with his eyes wide on the box. My friend told him, "Yeah, we'll give you the rest for $20 worth of product." He said yes, and gave us the weed and took the pizza. So we got $10 worth of extra green for $3 worth of pizza. Hell of a deal. Possibly off topic, but same ballpark. I gave my coworker a ride home once, and when I dropped him off, he asked me to hold my hand out. I thought he was going to give me like a $5 or something. Instead, he placed the smallest nugget of weed I have ever seen in my life in my hand. I tried not to laugh, and don't even think I said thanks. I just nodded and smiled. Pretty sure if I'd tried to light it in a bowl, it would have turned to ash before the smoke made it to my mouth. My neighbor came over one day with a container of ours that she'd borrowed. I was out of work at the time and low on green. Either way, she was all sly about it and said, "There's a little extra in the container for you. I've been smelling your house for years and thought this might hold you over till you're working again." She then went home. I opened the container, and it was the tiniest little nug on the planet. It wasn't even half a small bowl's worth. It was hysterical, but frankly, super adorable that she thought that was enough. Next time I saw her, though, I thanked her and told her it was super helpful. I didn't even know she smoked. I got traded a cat for 3 Xanax bars. The cat was covered in fleas and super young. I took the deal because, frankly, I felt bad for the cat. And let me tell you, I wouldn't trade this cat for $1 million. We've had 4 amazing years together. He's pulled babes out for me, he acts like a dog, he sleeps on his back, and follows me around the house. Frankly, best deal ever. I love my kitty. Had a guy who would pay me in turtles, like those miniature red slider turtles you get at fairs and carnivals. First time, I was cool with it. He knew I loved reptiles and that I'd wanted a new pet ever since my bearded dragon died. Anyway, this guy would sometimes pay me actual money, but every once in a while he would claim that he really needed a dime or something small, but didn't have the money, so he would opt to pay me in live turtles. Now, by all means, I love animals, but I'm running a business here. I can't feed myself with turtles. They're too small to eat even if I wanted to. But, strange enough, I accepted the payments. 3 months later, and this guy is buying in bulk. Which is great for me, because less weight on me equals more money. But this fucking guy was matching what he was buying in turtle weight. After the first couple times, I kinda got scared because I thought, where the hell is this man getting these turtles? Mind you, I'm from the Northeast. We aren't really known for our reptile population. So here I am accepting turtle over fist, trying to save each of these little guys, because I suspect that this dude is somehow acquiring these animals through illegal methods. Long story short, the guy gets arrested on exotic animal charges and does 10 to 25 years in state maximum. I thought I was the criminal, but this friggin' dude is the kingpin of reptiles. Unbelievable. He gets busted on exotic animal charges, but all he's willing to trade you is turtles, holding out on the crocs and alligators like a bastard. I used to sell green in college. Nothing major. I had about 12 clients, but the money was good enough that I never had to buy any of my own stuff, so it worked out. One day, I came home for my comprehensive exam in sociology. It was the only time that I never knew if I passed or failed a test. I was stressed to say the least. So I twisted up a joint, and boom, munchies hit like crazy. Like I needed food right then and there. Right in that moment, knock on my door. Some chemical engineering guy brought me a friggin' vat of chili. Like, at least 10 gallons of chili. We're talking a pot. And all he wanted was an eighth, which was about $35. I gave him that, and this damn chili was so good, I had to track this dude down and trade him for another. Perfect timing and unreal grub. Did you pass the exam? I did, but my class was the lowest scoring on the comprehensive of any class in the history of the department. So, yeah. When I'm in a bind, my dealer hooks me up with enough product until I get back on my feet, if I show up with produce from the farmer's market that happens on Sundays near my house. He's a hippie vegan and loves making fresh squeezed juice, but works on the days the farmer's market is on. I love going to the farmer's market. I love trading carrots, oranges, and beets for ganja. I love rolling a blunt while I wait for my dealer to make me a freaking fresh squeezed juice. It's a win-win-win. Weed is legal in California, but until a dispensary offers fresh squeezed juice and a joint while they give me my stuff, I'll stay loyal to my bud and my buddy. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. My name's ReddList. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
I have a feeling this will come in handy.